Hello, I am Devashish. Welcome to my channel D-BIOLIFE. I hope you are all doing well and staying healthy. So let's start. So look, at first I want to say something, that is the blood coagulation or the blood clotting process. This is very important for your board exam and as well as your NEET exam. Okay, so this is very important. So in previous video I have already mentioned that the blood clotting or the blood coagulation process basically consists 3 steps. Okay, so in my first video I have already told that the first step of the blood coagulation process. So today I am trying to discuss about the second step of the blood coagulation process. So let's start. So at first, look, second step of blood coagulation or clotting process, process. Okay, so second step. Okay, so we have already known that the end product of the first step, what? Prothrombinase enzyme. Okay, so we have already known that the end product of the first step of blood coagulation or the blood clotting process, that is prothrombinase enzyme. Okay, so now these prothrombinase enzyme, in the presence of Ca2 plus ion, okay, in the presence of Ca2 plus ion, these prothrombinase enzyme acts on heparin. Okay, acts on heparin. As a result, the functionality of the heparin becomes inhibit. So inhibit the function of heparin. Okay, this is very important. Okay, this is very important. Okay, so first end product of the first step, that is prothrombinase enzyme. So this prothrombinase enzyme, in presence of the Ca2 plus ion, inhibit the functionality of the heparin. So now question arises, why the functionality of the heparin should be inhibit or should be stopped during the blood coagulation or the blood clotting process? So because we all know that the function of the heparin, that is function of heparin. Okay, so if we see that the function of the heparin, that is it shows anti-prothrombin, okay, activity, or we can say that the anticoagulant activity, anticoagulant activity. So normally if we consider the function of the heparin, so heparin shows antiprothrombin activity or anticoagulant activity. So basically heparin inhibit the coagulation process. So during the blood clotting or the blood coagulation process, if heparin is present, then obviously the blood coagulation or the blood clotting process never completed. Okay, so that's why by the action of the prothrombinase enzyme, which is the end product of the first step of the blood coagulation or the blood clotting process, so by the action of the prothrombinase enzyme in the presence of the Ca2 plus ion, inhibit the functionality of the heparin substance. Okay, now within the blood plasma, prothrombin is present. Okay, prothrombin, Thrombin. So this prothrombin present in blood plasma. Okay, and this is present in inactive form. Okay, inactive form. Now this prothrombin convert into thrombin. This prothrombin convert into thrombin. Now this thrombin, this is active form. Okay, now this conversion process executed, or we can say that the catalyzed by, or we can say that the boost up by enzyme, well known enzyme, which is known as the prothrombinase. Okay, so this prothrombinase is the end product of the first step of blood coagulation or blood clotting process. Okay, so prothrombin to thrombin executed or catalyzed or boost up by prothrombinase enzyme. Okay, so catalyze, we can say that the catalyze or boost up, we can say that the catalyze or boost up by enzyme prothrombinase. As result, prothrombin convert into thrombin. So prothrombin present in the blood plasma, and this is the inactive form. And when thrombin form appear from the prothrombin, so this thrombin form becomes active, and along with thrombin some other small peptide elements also produce. Okay, so if we consider again, then the second step, so what will be the first condition? So during the second step, prothrombinase enzyme in the presence of Ca2 plus ion inhibit the functionality of the heparin substance. So normally heparin, it shows anti-prothrombin activity or anticoagulant activity. So if heparin present in active form, then obviously it inhibit the blood coagulation or the blood clotting process. So that's why during the blood coagulation time, the functionality of the heparin becomes inhibit by the action of the prothrombinase along with Ca2 plus ion. Okay, and as well as within the blood plasma, the prothrombin substance present, and that is inactive form. So conversion of the prothrombin into thrombin and some small peptide elements. So this process catalyzed or executed or boosted up by a well-known enzyme that is known as the prothrombinase, and this prothrombinase enzyme is the end product of the first step of blood coagulation or the blood clotting process. So these are the overall scenario of the second step or of blood coagulation or the blood clotting process. So if this video is useful and then obviously like, comment, share, subscribe. So see you on the next video. Stay safe, stay healthy. Goodbye.